Well, Ange, on the whole, a pretty tightly fought game, but ultimately, where do you think you've come short there in the end?
Yeah, it was a tight game, I guess. In the big moments, we weren't able to capitalise, and they were.
Beyond that, I suppose in the first half, particularly tight, that extra man in midfield looked to me making all the difference.
Yeah, I thought we were well in the game the whole time. I mean, even at 1-0, we had a great chance to go 1-1. So, yeah, I thought it was a tight game all along, obviously. At the end, they were chasing the game, so they got a bit more space. But yeah, up until that point, I thought we were well in it.
Do you think with the opportunities you had, particularly when it was just 1-0, there is an element of feeling with coming away with a bit of a missed opportunity tonight with those opportunities that you had in front of goal?
Yeah, absolutely. We lost the game. So, yeah, we had opportunities within the game to punish them.
Ahead of tonight, we talked about ultimately the ambition of this football club wanting to go on and emulate the kind of success that Manchester City has had. Tonight, you had a chance to really measure yourselves against them. What conclusions have you drawn with that?
Nothing earth-shattering that I didn't know before the game. Yeah, we've still got some work to do.
Some work? I mean, how close are you when you're looking ahead to next season, the work that needs to be done?
We need to do some work to catch up.
Does mean that you are now officially out of that race for the Champions League places. What's your immediate reaction to that?
Well, we've lost the game, so I'm disappointed.
But to have been in the race for Champions League football for such a long portion of this season, is that something that you can take pride of at this stage?
No, not right now because we've lost. So, we'll assess the season. Still got one more game to go. Still go to Sheffield United, and we've got to make sure we finish with a strong performance there, and then we'll assess the season there.
And would you feel fifth is a fair reflection of where you're at?
I think wherever you finish is a fair reflection of where you're at.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, Ange Postecoglou speaking there just after the final whistle here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and he elaborated a little bit in his press conference.
No, I think the last 48 hours has revealed to me the foundations are fairly fragile, mate. So that's what I feel. I just think that's, like I said, the last 40 hours has revealed a fair bit to me, and that's all right. That just means I've got to go back to the drawing board with something. Outside, inside, everywhere. It's been an interesting exercise. It's just one of my observations, mate. I'm not going to tell you because it's for me. I'm the one that's got to do it. So, you can make your own fairly accurate assessment of what's happened. And I understand I'll probably misread the situation as to what I think is important in your endeavour to become a winning team, but that's okay. That's why I'm here. So it is what it is, mate. I can't dictate what people do. They're allowed to express themselves any way they want. But yeah, when we've got late winners in games, it's because the crowd's helped us.
It sounds so simple when Pep Guardiola describes it, when Kyle Walker talks about it, when you hear Rodri and the more experienced players talking about it. We just prepare well, we play well, we get the right result, and that takes us to another league title potentially. And yet, it isn't easy, or else everybody would do it. But they're aware of every time that they've slipped up, Jamie. They talk about the going 2-0 down against Aston Villa on the last day of the season a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he spoke about consequences, but he also spoke that they are human beings and pressure gets to everybody. When you looked at that Manchester City team when they went 2-0 down at I think it was half-time, Michael. I think they looked dead and buried, and you think, well, how are they going to turn it around? Somehow, they just managed to do that. Gundogan coming in at the back post and just a little bit of luck here and there. I think, and you need that. But they obviously, of course, they know how to get across the line. But you also need that little bit of luck, those moments to go your way. And there will be pressure the weekend because if after half an hour there's no goal, the City fans starting to get a bit anxious. That can happen because, as I say, they're human beings. So it's still all to play for, although this is a huge result for them. They were playing against the West Ham side that have been struggling for a little while. They've not been in the form that Arsenal fans would like right now. They'd love to be playing against a side that's full of confidence. But let's just see, because you never quite know.
Obviously, I've been involved on one of the most dramatic, days for season. I mean, that moment with Aguero, obviously different manager and a different team, but the emotion going into the game, it was like I'm looking normally to my left and my right, and I'm seeing David Silva and I'm seeing Aguero. I'm looking at Company and Yaya Toure, normally so calm and composed. On that day against QPR,
That QPR was at the bottom of the league.
everyone, and they was fighting to get the points. In the end, it didn't matter. But you looked around and you just seen nervousness everywhere. It's a bit different. Obviously, this team have done it. They know how to do it. They're going for the fourth. But there still will be nerves on that final day.
And also, like you've won the title, and as you said, Mike, it feels like sometimes for players, that's it. They've climbed that mountain and they've achieved. For this group of players, it has to be instilled in them that they have to go again. They have to follow up a treble-winning season by challenging on all fronts yet again. They're still in with an extremely good chance of winning a double this season. But when we talk about what you learn from a title-winning season, I mean, you were sort of just saying that just a couple of after Kyle Walker had gone away. You're like, but what is that? What is it that they learn? What do you feel that you learned?
I think for Kyle, when he's looking into, he's naming those players, it's like, what is the information that you've picked up from those guys? Obviously, you try to be a sponge around players who are older than you and can give you the information you need to take it along in your career. And I think for Kyle there, it's almost like, can you not describe it specifically where that switch mentally happens? Because it is hard to describe it. I think when I went to Chelsea and I left Man City when I was younger, Chelsea was like, the expectation is to win. There's no way around it. When I went to that football club, and there was a lot of senior professionals there who had won stuff before, and you go in there and you are a sponge, you are looking around thinking, wow, like these players are, they know what to do. They know how to get through those difficult moments. They never lose hope within themselves, within the strength of the team as teammates. It's a different, I don't know. It's a
Who were the
energy.
biggest characters when you were there in terms, obviously you got John Terry and we know what he's done within the game, but who else was you learning off, especially because you was more offensive player?
Yeah, I mean, you had Lamps, Frank Lampard, who in training, I'll never forget, he was one of those players who, when I talk about shooting drills, he's the perfect example of shooting the way his chances come in games. So that was one thing that I picked up from. Then you talk about Peter Cech was a huge presence in the dressing room vocally. You had Didier as well, who was very vocal, and you knew you could trust him in those big moments. And I think with this City squad, when you look at this squad now, you think to yourself, if something goes wrong, if there's any little vibe going on, Kevin De Bruyne is going to do something. He's going to make something happen. Rodri might get a little goal from the edge of the box with a deflection or something like that. And you're thinking, these moments, we've not seen it once. It's happened every year. So it is something.
And they can all trust in each other, and Pep Guardiola can trust in his players to take them over the line. Well, as the heavens open here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Spurs weren't able to rain on Manchester City's parade. Here's Ange Postecoglou with Emma.
One game at a time, but it is the reality. Like as Walk said before the game, Kyle Walker, this is a cup final for us. The next game will be a cup final again. So they know what they've got to do. They know what's at stake. They're playing for history. I mean, what more do you want? To get you up, to sleep well at night, to eat good, to recover well. You want to be a part of that. You want to be on the football pitch, and you want to be lifting that trophy.
City have done it 4 times, though, haven't they?
Well, look, it's for me, I think that's a sign of a great mentality more than anything else. It's not, with the greatest respect to all the teams in the Premier League, they've pushed them to their limit. And every time they have an answer. These last 4 times they've had an answer. They've been driven to great levels in terms of, today it was a professional performance, maybe not so much, blowing them away, but they showed the experience that enables them to win those 4 titles today, because could have gone clearly. Son could have put one away, and then it's a completely different football match. But the goalkeeper comes on, and he's like absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so a cup final today. They're past that one. A cup final against West Ham, live on Sky Sports on Sunday. And then an actual cup final for Manchester City as they take on Manchester United. They could be following up and look likely to follow up a treble with a double.
It's ridiculous. I think Daniel summed it up perfectly well there. They're just relentless in what they do. They're confident, tactically astute, know exactly what they want. They push themselves to the limits and they get results. I think when you look at this team and how they set up and look at the players who they've lost in the history as well, it's sort of how they managed to redevelop a new team, play a certain style, and still get results. Because when we look at other teams and the way they bring in players and let players go and all that sort of thing, it's like, well, are they going to be the same team? Man City, on the eye for me, probably have not been as, I won't say clinical, but easy on the eye as last year. But this season, just get it done. It doesn't matter. And that's just a sign of a great team. Really.
Were you calm at half-time?
I'm a neutral pundit, so I'm calm, of course, Jamie.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, I don't think so either. Were you calm at half-time? Did you? Okay, I'll rephrase that as you were obviously neutral, which we know you're not. Did you think that City still had enough in their locker to win this game, even at half-time, where it was a little bit edgy first half?
I think when you've got great players on the pitch, like De Bruyne, like Foden, like Haaland, you always expect, in the second half of games, to always open up, of course. I said at half-time to bring on Doku, he gets a pen as well. I just think Man City have so much quality. I think Spurs played really well, especially tactically in that first half, the way they clogged up the middle of the park. But in the end, City's quality shone through, I thought.